So originally this was just going to be an unboxing and a review of the GAOMON S620, but everyone kinda did it already, so I decided to instead explain what exactly makes a tablet great for OSU and what to look for when buying one. There are a lot of things to look out for when searching for OSU tablets, and sometimes the specs list can be kind of confusing. Some people tell you PPS is irrelevant, others tell you that you need a lot of LPI, and yet others will tell you that battery pens are good. Fuck those people. But there's one thing no one will tell you.
What the shit any of it even means.
So let's take a look at the S620 spec list and I'll explain what everything means from top to bottom. The first factor that's important is whether a pen is passively or battery powered. Passively powered pens work with passive electromagnetic resonance. And that's a fancy term for this pen works without a battery. This is good because it greatly reduces the weight of your pen, which is important because that makes it easier to flick and it also causes less fatigue. There are some people who swear by battery powered pens because they are heavier, but you should generally go with passive pens unless you are completely sure that you would rather want the battery pen. The next thing is the size of your tablet. The dimension specification refers to the overall size of the tablet, while the working area refers to the area of the tablet that's actually usable. This is usually indicated by these dots here. Or in some cases, like with XP Pen, there are these small corners that indicate the area. How big your tablet should be is completely up to you, and that's kind of irrelevant as well, because you can change the area to whatever size you want in your tablet's drivers anyways. Pressure sensitivity is really only relevant for drawing, but I'm going to explain it anyways, because some people might want to use the tablet for drawing as well. Pressure sensitivity is basically how accurately the pressure you exert on a tablet is translated to a drawing program. For the S620 this is listed as 8192 levels. So that means that there are 8192 different pressure strengths the tablet will recognize. LPI, or lines per inch, refers to how accurately your tablet can track the position of your pen. It's kind of the same with monitors, in which case it would be pixel density. Most newer tablets will have an LPI of 5080, but generally everything over 2540 is just for show, because it's barely noticeable. The sensing height refers to the height your pen can be lifted off of the tablet's surface and still be tracked. For players like me that hover, this is extremely important because you don't want to lift your pen too high in a jump section and have your pen not recognized anymore. Usually the sensing height is around 10mm, and everything above that is a godsend. Now to one of the more controversial and probably the most important factors when it comes to choosing a tablet for OSU. The report rate. The report rate is the rate at which your tablet sends the position of your pen to your computer. It kind of works like the head solder in your mouse and keyboard. With this, more is obviously better, because it will drastically reduce the input lag you will experience. The highest value for this I could find so far was 266 pps, which is present in most newer tablets. But there's another very important factor, probably just as important as the report rate: hardware smoothing. This can add a huge delay on your inputs. Some tablets have this, others don't, and you rarely find it in the specs list. So before you choose the tablet, you should probably go on Reddit and see if it has hardware smoothing. All hardware smoothing does is smooth your inputs. That means every time you make a curve, circle, or really any other motion with your pen, your tablet will smooth it out for you. Now, obviously we don't want that for OSU since it's just a necessary input lag. In some cases this can get so drastic that otherwise great tablets with great report rates will generate so much input lag that they are as bad as tablets without hardware smoothing at half the report rate. And that brings us to the GAOMON S620 review and comparison to the CTL 490. I really like the S620 design. It looks pretty cool. I personally like the detection light as well because I think it's really creative. It has 4 express keys, so these are keys that you can basically program to do anything you want. You can use them as mouse buttons, but you can also use them to run programs. The rubber feet at the bottom are really good. I didn't have it slip so far. It comes with 8 pen nibs and a pen nib remover. It has a high report rate at 266 pps. The hover distance is 10mm, which is pretty decent. It could have been more, but it still works. It can make use of 5080 lines per inch, and sadly there's a bit of hardware smoothing. This is not too bad though, you can barely feel it, and it's definitely less than the 490s. Overall I'd say this tablet is a bit above average specs for today's standards. Now, the pen is something I really like. So this is the Art Paint AP32. It's lightweight, it has rubber at the bottom, and it's pretty thick, which makes it very easy to hold. There's also no battery, which is really good. Comparing this to my old CTL 490 pen, this is just so much better. The CTL 490 pen constantly slipped out of my hand because it's basically just a plastic tube without any texture. And the worst thing about this is that the Wacom pen even costs more than this. Most of their pens cost more than this. If you want a rubberized pen from Wacom, you have to pay like 70 bucks. Compared to my 490, this tablet is way better. It has a way higher report rate, there's way less hardware smoothing. The 490 has so much hardware smoothing, it's basically unusable in my opinion. And the pen feels a lot nicer. The rubber feet are also very important for me, because I had my CTL 490 slip constantly. I had to tape it down several times, but I don't think this will be the case with the 620. So overall I think this is a really good tablet, probably one of the best for the price. The only thing I don't really like is that the price has gone up in the last several months. I mean, it's kinda justified, but still. And I would have also liked the setting for smoothing instead of it being on the hardware level. But in the end I would definitely recommend this tablet to anyone that wants to play OC. It's good for pros, it's good for beginners. If you want a tablet, this is probably it. And lastly, here's a bit of gameplay. Passively powered pens work with passive electromagnetic passive electromagnetic resonance. Passive electromagnetic resonance. Passively powered pens work with passive electromagnetic... Fuck! Passively powered pens work with passive electromagnetic...